Hello friends, I'm back again with another lecture on theory of automata. As you saw in the previous lecture, I gave you a brief introduction to the concepts of finite automata. And today I will begin directly with the definition of finite automata, the types of finite automata that exist, and how do we make a finite automata. Alright, so a finite automata is basically described by a 5 tuple capital M is equal to Q sigma delta Q0 F, Q sigma delta Q0 F, where capital Q is a finite set of states in which your machine will be at any instant of time, right? Sigma is a finite set of input symbols which we also refer to as the alphabet set, as I explained you yesterday. Third is delta, which I will be discussing in the end. First we come to Q0. Q0 is basically a state. Q0 belongs to capital Q and it is generally referred to as the initial state. So the initial state of the finite automata will most of the times be represented by Q0. F. F is also a set of states. There can be more than one state in the finite automata, more than one final state in the finite automata, which is referred to by F. Although in the finite automata you will have only one initial state which will be written over here. If Q0 is the initial state that you have considered, you will write Q0 over here. If you are considering Q1 as the initial state, you will write Q1 over here, and so on, right? But since the final state can be more than one, so that is why it is written in capital letter over here to denote that it is a set. So F will be a subset of capital Q and it is a set of final state. It is a set of final state means there can be one final state or there can be more than one final state in your machine, right? Now we come to the most prominent and the most important part of this definition, which is delta. Delta is basically referred to as the transition function. It is referred to as the transition function, and this transition function differentiates the different types of automata. Alright, now this finite automata, I'll come back to delta just now. This finite automata is basically of two types. It is a deterministic, it can be a deterministic finite automata, which is usually referred to as DFA, and a non-deterministic finite automata, which is referred to by non-deterministic finite automata, which is referred to as generally NFA, or sometimes we also call it as NDFA. Alright, now how do we differentiate between these two? These two will be differentiated in terms of this transition function delta. Now when I talk about deterministic finite automata, this delta is basically a mapping from Q cross sigma to capital Q. Whereas if I talk about non-deterministic finite automata, this delta is a mapping from Q cross sigma to 2 to the power Q. What does 2 to the power Q refer to? Right? 2 to the power Q is basically a power set. It is a power set of capital Q. Capital Q is what? It is the set of states that you have in your machine, right? So what it means is that in a deterministic finite automata, in a particular state, when you give certain input, you will always go to one state. You can go only to a single state, right? For example, in a state Q0, if I give input as A, I can go to any one state, Q1, or I could go to Q2, or I could remain in Q0, whatever. But the transition will be only to a single state, so this is why it is a mapping from Q cross sigma to Q. Now, in the case of NFA, for a given state and for a given input symbol, there could be a transition to more than one states, and that is why 2 to the power of q is written over here. What it means is that if in state q0, if I give the input as a, if supposing there is a move that I can go remain in state q0 or I can go to q1, that means in q0 on giving a, you can go either to this state or you can go to this state. If you can go to more than one state for a particular state and input symbol, then that finite automata is referred to as a non-deterministic finite automata, and this is the basic difference between a DFA and a NFA. Alright, now how do we find out 2 to the power q? How do we find out 2 to the power q? Now supposing you have capital Q as, supposing you have capital Q is a set of states in which you have states q0 and q1. What will be the power set of this set? It will either be a empty set or q0, or you can have q1, or you can have q0 q1. So if a set is having how many elements? 2 elements, the number of elements in the power set will be 2 to the power 2, that is 4, and this is how we calculate the power set. Right? Now supposing q is having 3 states, that is q0, q1 and q2. Now you calculate the power set of this 2 to the power q. It will be how many elements are there? 3 elements are there, 3 states are there. So how many elements in the power set? 2 to the power 3. 2 to the power 3, that means 8 elements will be there. So 5 q0 q1 q2, all possible subsets that you can make from this set of states. So 5 q0 q1 q2, then you have q0 q1 q1 q2, you have q0 q2, and then you have the set of size 3, that is the set itself, which will be q0 q1 and q2. Alright, so count how many elements are there? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 and this 8. 8 elements are there in this power set. So when I say that in an FA the delta is a mapping from q cross sigma to 2 to the power q, it means that on a particular state, when you give certain input, you can go to any of these input, any of these combination of states which you have in this particular set. Here you have single states also, one state also, and more than one state also. So whenever there is a transition to more than one state, then it is referred to as a NFA. Alright, so that means if you have understood this definition, you will understand what I am writing over here, that DFA is always a subset of NFA. But the reverse is not true. DFA is a subset of NFA, but NFA is not a subset of a DFA. Why DFA is a subset of NFA? Because in a DFA, on a particular state and input symbol, you transit to a single state. In NFA also, for a particular state and input symbol, you can transit to a single state, like in this case and this case. But difference is that you can also transit to more than one state. But in the case of DFA, it is not possible that you transit to more than one state. So we say that DFA is a subset of NFA, and you must remember this inequality which exists, this property which exists, or the relationship which exists between the DFA and the NFA. All DFAs are NFAs, but not all NFAs are DFAs. Alright, so this is the basic difference between a DFA and NFA, and this is how we define your finite automata. I hope the concept is clear to you, that how you can define a NFA, how you can define a DFA, and what is meant by a transition function in both the cases. Now there are different ways by means of which you can represent a finite automata. So next is representation of finite automata. When I say finite automata, I mean both your DFA plus your NFA. I mean DFA plus your NFA. So there are two ways basically by means of which you can represent. First is by means of transition diagram, and the second is by means of transition table. Transition diagram and transition table are two ways of representing your finite automata. Now talk about the first one, that is your transition diagram, which is drawn like this. In this you represent the states by means of circles. Supposing I have 3 states, I will write their names over here. Alright, the initial state, whichever is the initial state, you will mark by an arrow. Whichever is the final state, you will put a double circle over it. Right? It means that there are 2 final states over here, because 2 double circles are there, 2 concentric circles are there. So that means Q1 is also a final state, Q2 is also a final state, because you can have any number of final state, either 1 final state, 2, 3, 4, any number of final states could be there. Now the transitions on the input symbols, this is just a random example. How I am making this is not your concern, just you see that how do we represent a transition diagram. So supposing on Q0, if I give input 0, I stay on this state. Input 1 I am giving, I come to this state. Again 0, I remain on this state. 1, I go to this state. And on this state, I give 0 or 1, I remain on this state. So this is your transition diagram, or this is how you represent a finite automata by means of a transition diagram. Right? Second way by means of which you can represent is by means of a transition table. In the transition table, you make a table like this. First you make this. Here you will write all the states. So I will convert this transition diagram into transition table. So you have 3 states, so I write down 3 states over here. Initial state I will mark by a arrow. Final state I will put a circle over it. Inputs or sigma I will write over here, that is 0 and 1. Q0 you are giving 0, you are remaining in this state. Q0 you are giving 1, you are going to Q1. Q1 pe you are giving 0, you are remaining in Q1, and Q1 on giving 1 you are going to state Q2. Q2 pe if you give 0, you remain on this state, that is Q2, and on Q2 if you give a 1, it remains on this state, that is Q2 again. So this is how we can represent a finite automata by means of either a transition diagram or a transition table. Now we are finished with the definition of finite automata. We just have to start with the questions, and as we come to the questions, we will discuss that how you make the same in the same manner you will represent the DFA and NFA, both by means of transition diagram and transition table. How to differentiate between these two, or how to make the table or diagram of the two and see how they are different from each other, that will be discussed in the next class with n number of numericals for your practice. Alright, so this completes my today's lecture on the difference between finite automata, DFA and NFA, and their representation. So see you in the next class with some good examples on how to make transition diagram and transition table. Now before I end the class, I want to tell you that I have changed my channel's name, and now its name is Simple Concept, so that it is easy for you to remember. Alright then, thank you all of you. See you tomorrow.